day and welcome to Quilting with Don. Two surprises. That's what I'm going to call this episode. So, interestingly enough, the first surprise is that I've been on a quilting interview with a great guy, Stephen Bland, who calls himself the Idiot Quilter. I'm not making this up. But I had a great interview with him on his, and he's posted it on his YouTube channel. I think it's a fun interview. So if you want to see more of me, where I wasn't actually guiding the ship in this particular thing, I was being interviewed. Please, you should see a link at the top of the screen, but also in the description of this YouTube video. So there's surprise number one. I was on an interview, which I quite enjoyed it, and my compliments to Stephen because it was he's very knowledgeable. He was a great interviewer, and we had a nice chat. Okay, surprise number two. This is the real part of this video that I'm going to do, and I'm going to, ready for this? Going to unbox and hopefully get to work a Singer 99 sewing machine made in 1956. It's very cool. So before I get into the details of showing it to you, I'll explain this. Good friend of Carolyn's, her name is Francesca. Thank you, Francesca. Francesca gave Carolyn this sewing machine a little while ago. Wow, it's gorgeous. I won't spend too much more time talking about it. I'll show it to you. But all I can say is this sewing machine is amazing because it's got everything you could imagine when it was brand new, and then some. So, let's get to the unboxing. First of all, here it is, and it's heavy. They built things solidly in 1956. So, da-da-da, wait for it. Of course, I have already looked at it. Drum roll, please. Da-da-da-da-da-da. There is the wee beastie, and it includes the presser foot. Now, I haven't plugged anything in yet. I haven't actually tried this yet. But I did go through all the bits already, so I know what I'm getting into. So here's the presser foot. This is a bag that someone along the line added to keep everything together, which is cool. Might have been Francesca. So it's got the presser foot with an integrated plug, and it plugs into the machine right here. All right. Now, give you another angle of this baby from this side. Isn't that cool looking? Now, so I've already put a bobbin in here, but that it came with, and threaded the bobbin just because I wanted to see how it worked. But let's get into the unboxing because there's all sorts of cool stuff inside this bottom half of the case. But isn't this a neat sewing machine? 1956, I tell you, all mechanical, no electronics. The only electric, of course, is the motor. And it's pretty impressive. Okay. 99K. So I did research the serial number, EL065335, and this machine, according to that serial number, and according to the source of information, which seems pretty authentic because it came from Singer, this machine was made in 1956. So it's 5 years older than I am, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? That's actually a good thing. It shows that it's in remarkable shape. I mean, you can see, look how shiny this baby is. You can see the light reflecting off it. The paint is flawless. I don't know if this is original. I'm going to assume it is. It may have been resprayed, not positive, but it is gorgeous. And it works. The motion is free. Now, there's you can get to the things that are underneath the sewing machine simply by lifting it up. And there's all sorts of things in here that are pretty cool, but I have to hang on to it because it's heavy. It came with some bobbins. There's a bit of a story there. I don't know what this is. It says something zipper, adjustable zipper, so it might be a tool for it. But here's, I think, one of the best parts. It has instructions, the original instruction booklet for the electric sewing machine, 99-31. Very awesome. And then, tucked in here, is a box of parts. It's all sorts of great sewing feet, and I'll show you that in a sec. Also in here are a couple of pieces of documentation that shows me some really cool stuff. I believe it was Francesca had this machine, according to this, serviced, at a local repair place in town in Nanaimo. And then she also bought a few things to spruce it up, including a sewing foot, some more bobbins. This foot apparently has been replaced, or at least the cord has. And this is a cool thing. This is the presser foot, right? Not the presser foot, the pedal for sewing. And it's a button right here. So I imagine when you set it down on the floor, you put your foot in, and this allows your foot to have some sort of regulation so it's not stomping on and off. And then you can adjust the throttle by rotating your foot. That's pretty cool. So another interesting thing about this, and I just playing around a bit, is that you really should empty out the underneath, because when I first opened it up and I took some things out, I left some things in, and then this part right here is part of the mechanism for the bobbin, and it's exposed. You can see how it moves there. So this is binding on a piece that was left in the box, so definitely you need to empty the box out, I think, before you use it. And here's the parts. It's got all sorts of, it's got a tool, excellent, solid tool, a solid screwdriver, another screwdriver, and then it's got all these great types of feet. So one of these is a binding foot. Oh yeah, this one is an amazing gadget that apparently, according to the instructions, allows you to fold over the binding on your quilt. There's a ruffler foot, this could be it, this one. There's hemming feet, there's all sorts of cool tools in here, and it looks like there's instructions in the bottom. So that's very impressive that this is all here. Okay, update. I did some fussy work to make sure I like the way it's set up and that it works. Plugged in the pedal with the cord, and of course goes the power as well. I wound a bobbin on the bobbin winder. It worked exactly as the instructions said it should. What you do is you put the bobbin on here, the proper bobbin, you lock this little foot down here, it pushes, it guides keeps the bobbin aligned on the pin here, but it also pushes this little wheelie thing, this little rubber wheel against this wheel. Now you're saying, well, hang on, it's going to keep sewing. No, because there's a clutch on the end here, you disengage. So then the big wheel will spin, but the mechanism is not attached any longer, and it winds the bobbin when you press on the pedal. It worked very well. Then I thread the machine. Thread goes through a little guide through the tensioner here, just like any other sewing machine. It goes through a bit of a loopy thing, up through the arm here that goes up and down, that is synchronized with the mechanism and the needle, of course. Down through a couple guides, 1, 2, and then through the needle from left to right. It doesn't feed front to back, it feeds left to right. So, I tried it initially, couldn't get the tension right, tried it a second time, and adjusted, because every thread is different. This thread is cotton thread, I think, from Gutermann. Anyway, and I adjusted the tensioner up 1 notch, and it sews great. So, let's do it again. Oh, one other thing. This instruction manual, like I say, it's very well laid out. It's got pictures, it's got clear directions. Whoever wrote this knows how to write instruction manuals. It's super well done. I'll even show a couple pictures on the screen here. The other thing, this is a mechanical machine, right? It takes machine oil in many, many places. There's 3 pages of spots to oil this machine. They say if you're using it non-stop, oil it every day. If you're using it a little less commercially, let's say, and I believe this could be used commercially, it's industrial strength. There are places in the front, on the top, around the wheel, in the bobbin. There have got to be, and I have to count them, but at least 20 places to oil. Okay, that's cool. It's a mechanical machine. You want to keep it running well. And why you wouldn't run your car without oil, right? So why would you run a sewing machine without oil? All right. Here's my bobbin thread. Here's my needle thread. Just pull them aside here. Let's do some sewing. This is so cool. So I just piece of black fabric and white thread so you can see how it works. This is just like you'd expect it. You run the threads in the right spot. And you put the fabric in. Press the foot down. Hold the thread. And sew. So I'm just going to find... Yeah, this presser foot, or the pedal is a little different than I'm used to. It's okay. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that sound wonderful? And it's interesting, I took my foot off the pedal, it slowed itself down. It didn't stop right away. So that's something you'd have to get used to if you're trying to do precise sewing. It also, like modern machines, it's not automatically needle up or needle down. So I'm now pulling the needle all the way up. There we go. Lifting the presser foot, pulling the thread aside, and again, there's no thread cutter. We'll cut the thread. And there we have it. It's sewed quite nicely. Quite nicely. So that's a win. I'm going to now use this machine to sew the next label I'm going to do. It's going to be a little label for scraps of Sauron. It needs a label that just says from the Parksville Guild with Lev, etc. because it's going to be given away. So they want to have the quilt identify that the Parksville Guild made it. And that's cool. Well, so there you have it. Beautiful Singer sewing machine, Model 99, built in 1956. It works great. I'm going to use this for my next major project. I really like the way it sounds and the way it feels. Sure, it takes a bit of care and feeding with the oiling once in a while, setting the tensions properly, and of course, the manual things that you may take for granted. Oh, and it does do backup stitches. There's a little knob here, you turn, you move it up, get an all mechanical that changes the mechanism and it sews in the other direction so you can backstitch. So that sounds like it's got everything I need for straight sewing, and I love the way it sounds and how it's a wonderfully engineered machine. So, hope you enjoyed this version of Quilting with Don. 2 surprises, like I said. I got to be on an interview, and this mechanical machine is a surprise wonder. It's so cool. Thanks again to Francesca for giving it to Carolyn. I think I'm adopting it. It's gonna be mine. Well, we'll see. I might have to arm wrestle Carolyn for it. Anyway, happy sewing. Keep on doing her. Happy quilting, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.